Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, November 12th. The Ministry of Education has put a rigorous program in place to monitor and evaluate the 17 schools selected to participate in the phased resumption of face-to-face classes. Minister Favour Williams says the intense monitoring and assessment mechanism is being rolled out over the course of the 2-week pilot.
This evaluation will be conducted to determine the extent to which the reopening of 17 schools during the COVID-19 pandemic for a period of 2 weeks was done efficiently. It aims to facilitate evidence-based decision-making to determine the successes and highlight further considerations that need to be given to the full and/or partial resumption of face-to-face instruction for the education system as a whole.
Minister Williams was making a statement during this Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives. As part of the evaluation, she says the ministry's Planning and Development Division will seek responses from all students and teaching staff in the 17 schools using electronic questionnaires. After a one-day delay caused by the recent flood rains, the schools began their face-to-face classes on Tuesday. The participating primary and secondary schools are located in the parishes of Clarendon, St. Anne, St. Elizabeth, St. James, Manchester, Westmoreland, Portland, and St. Thomas. Meanwhile, Brampton Primary School in Trelawney is one of the latest beneficiaries of government's Tablets in Schools program. 45 tablets were handed over to the institution on Friday to benefit grades 4 to 6 students who are registered on the Program of Advancement through Health and Education, PATH. Education Minister Favour Williams says government is also taking steps to make data plans more affordable for students without internet access.
We know that the tablets in and of themselves are not the be-all and end-all. You must have connectivity to really use them well. The data plans have to be affordable, and we are talking with the providers to see how best we can get them to roll out affordable data plans.
She promised that Brampton Primary would receive internet service before the end of November.
I know that Brampton Primary is lacking in internet connectivity. And I want to say to Brampton, you're on our list of 100 schools for internet connectivity.
The Ministry of Justice is looking at how to implement a ticketing system under the Disaster Risk Management Act, where persons who breach the legislation will be fined and issued a ticket. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says the act requires amendments as it relates to breaches for the outlined COVID-19 protocols.
When people breach the protocols, breach the various instructions that have been given in terms of mask wearing, social distancing, no gathering, no break of the curfew, what penalties will be imposed. And we're looking at a ticketing system where if you don't wear mask, or if you break the curfew, the fine will be $X,000.
The minister was speaking at a JIS think tank on Tuesday. He said other pieces of related legislation were also being reviewed, including the Emergency Powers Act, the Public Health Act, and the Quarantine Act. In the meantime, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says government's COVID-19 response in vulnerable communities and entities continues to yield favorable results. Dr. Tufton says results from samples in the prison population found 394 negative and 39 positive cases among inmates, with only 2 active cases currently.
I think we are making progress in terms of our prison population. 54 staff members have tested positive with only 3 active cases currently and 141 negative.
As it regards the recent outbreak at the Missionaries of the Poor charity facility, Dr. Tufton says the health team continues to manage the situation fairly well, adding that the treatment and response was encouraging. As for Raytown in Kingston, which has been under quarantine, the health minister says the situation there has improved favorably.
It does point to a direction where we could lift or certainly recommend the lifting of the quarantine measures, and that's positive.
At the Cornwall courts in St. James, there are 14 active cases. Public health officials have distributed 1,497 health education material and engaged more than 4,000 persons. The second batch of fellows under the Jamaica House Fellowship Program have been installed. The program, which is the brainchild of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, seeks to attract young people to be a part of the civil service. Selected participants are given a 2-year internship with government ministries, agencies, and departments with the possibility of gaining full-time employment at the end of the internship. At Wednesday's orientation, Prime Minister Andrew Holness charged the 7 fellows to use their exposure to make their mark in the public service.
What we are interested in is creating entrepreneurs. We want you to come into the organization, understand the rules, respect the history and tradition, but at the same time, figure out how we can look towards improving those rules, re-engineering those processes to become more efficient.
And finally, Education Minister Favour Williams has expressed condolence to the families of 4 children who passed away over the past few days. The 4 youngsters are 13-year-old Jadan McLean, who attended Brownstown High School, 14-year-old Marcus Garvey Technical High student Rihanna Howard, 9-year-old Alifia Timbowala of St. Jude's Primary, and 5-year-old DeAndre Jaden Peterkin, who was a student at Providence Basic School. Minister Williams says the ministry has been in touch with the families to offer psychosocial support.
Death of our children is never easy, and so we mourn for these children as though they were our own. In fact, Madam Speaker, they are our own children, our nation's children. May their souls rest in peace.
The minister expressed her condolences during this week's sitting of the House of Representatives. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.